Okay, what very much could be the most hyped update to War Thunder is finally here. I woke up at 2 AM this morning to try and get my test drives to get all the new vehicles to get some content out. And first up on the list is the F-16. I know I said I'd do the MiG-29 first, but honestly I just kind of felt like playing the F-16. With the F-16 and the MiG-29, these are now the two best jets in the entire game. Well, actually I say two best jets in the entire game, but in reality we got 5 F-16s. Now there are some slight differences between all the F-16s, but for the most part the differences are pretty minimal. Now the one I use for this video, or at least mostly used for this video, is the ADF in the US tree, and I've been told the ADF gets its own flight model, but I don't know exactly what the differences are between this and the other F-16s. I haven't confirmed this, nor have I tested it for myself, so take that with a grain of salt. Okay, so the F-16's armament, this one specifically, the ADF, actually has the ability to carry 2 AIM-7Ms in addition to 4 AIM-9Ls. Now currently, at the time of making this video, the AIM-7M is identical to the AIM-7F. I don't know what the differences are in real life. I would expect it to change if there are some substantial differences between the 7F and the 7M, but for now they perform exactly the same. Now when I was first playing the F-16 this morning, I took the 2 7Ms with the 4 9Ls, but as time went on and the more games I played, I started to only take the 9Ls. This is really just a preference thing for me. I would much prefer to have IR missiles over SAR missiles, and the way I play, having IR missiles is probably the better decision. As you saw in the intro, if you can catch the enemy team in the right place at the right time, you can really rack up some kills with 6 9Ls. Now I do have to mention the 9Ls were nerfed this patch. The flare resistance is not nearly as good as it was. In fact, it's almost effortless to flare these things now, apparently. I've shot quite a few 9Ls rear aspect at F-14s now, and it seems like they don't really have to work that hard to flare these things anymore. Before, you would have to cut your afterburner, dump your throttle, and dump a bunch of flares, even have a hope of surviving a 9L fired at you from rear aspect. Now how about the flight performance of the F-16? Honestly, it's pretty cracked. I want to compare it to the MiG-29. I'm probably not really going to do it this video because I've only played one game in the MiG-29 so far on a live server. I played a little bit of it on the first dev server and it didn't seem like it was fully finished yet, so I'm hoping it's a bit better now. Anyway, back to the F-16. I'm going to be honest, it's taking a little bit to get used to when playing this thing. Something that you're going to have to do in the F-16 versus a lot of top tier jets you're probably used to is use your air brake a lot. This thing has so much engine power and so much energy retention, you have to use the air brake a lot. What I'm used to, and what you guys are probably used to as well, is just kind of losing speed throughout your maneuvers as you play. But here with the F-16, it sometimes just straight up will not lose speed, and you will have to air brake if you want to slow down. It's very easy to overshoot people. Now once you've got that air brake out and you're slowing down, this thing's low speed maneuverability is very, very strong. If you have anybody in front of you, you can just absolutely sit behind them. They start trying to fly away, you can catch them because you're an F-16, and you can go really, really fast. Of course, this is not taking into consideration the MiG-29 because I have not extensively played it yet. Like I said, I've only played one game in it since the patch dropped. But even then, I'm assuming if you can get behind a MiG-29, you can probably just sit there. I guess we'll see how that performs in my next video though. Anyway, here's some gameplay. Alright, I guess we'll start out with this one. This is just a quick 1v2 against 2 F-14s. This is the Rocky Canyon map, and I spent the entire game doing like literally nothing until I flew all the way to their airfield and found these two guys. I actually thought there was only one guy hanging out at the airfield, but as it turns out, I see a missile diamond come from below and to the left of the guy I had locked up, Mr. Elon Musk Doge. Since he wasn't spotted and he fired that AIM-7F relatively close, I almost died to it. But as you saw, I hit the air brake and turned as sharp as I could, threw a bunch of chaff out, and luckily the 7F went for the chaff. Now after having my air brake out for a minute, I am relatively slow, so now I actually have to play it pretty aggressively. Normally, if I didn't have to try and dodge that AIM-7F last second, I probably would have played it a little more passive. Luckily, the other F-14 hasn't quite got to us yet, and Mr. Elon Musk Doge is going to overshoot and end up in front of my guns, and that's a kill. Very glad I hit that shot because now I only have to worry about one F-14. And now he's just throwing missiles at me. Now, I don't blame him for doing that because that's going to lighten his plane a little bit. I probably would have done the same thing, and if I didn't get them off, I probably would have dropped them. F-14's coming in hot. I'm still pretty slow, and all I got to do is roll my nose over, basically just trying to line up the same shot I did in the first F-14. Luckily today my aim wasn't completely abysmal and I set him on fire. Very glad I got to kill these two guys at the end of this match because this was Rocky Canyon, it is an EC map, it takes forever to do anything, and I did nothing the entire game because I didn't see anyone. You know, a second ago I said this was like a 1v2, but in reality this is more of like 2 1v1s that ended very quickly. Alright, into another game. This one's a nice little 6-piece, 6 kills is always nice, and you guys like seeing frags, so I guess I'll show you some frags. Starting off, I got a Sparrow off on this MiG-23. He does too little, too late, and that's gonna take him out no problem. Up next, another MiG-23 coming right towards me. I'm going to keep my head on a swivel because I'm making sure I'm not going to get a missile fired on me. Now, if I was still looking forward that whole time, I would have noticed the MiG-23 turned around, but Luckily, the radar on this thing is really nice, and he didn't chaff, so the Sparrow still hit, even though he fully 180'd away from me. Up until this point, I have never seen that happen, except for once or twice when I was using the EJ Kai, which has an F-16 radar, by the way, so I guess that makes perfect sense. Anyway, I was kind of zooming, and I put my nose up, so now I'm way up high above everybody, which, when you have a bunch of AIM-9Ls, this kinda is the place to be, especially when everyone looks like they're distracted like this. Also sort of lucky that both these MiG-29s are distracted, and fire off a couple AIM-9Ls at both of them kill, and now I'm gonna try and get some off in this J7 and this MiG-29. Kinda hesitated a little bit because I didn't get the lock on the J7, so I almost eat dirt here, but air brake out, turn a little bit, and we're chilling. Another MiG-29 is now right behind me. He fires a missile, I drop a few flares, cut my afterburner, and that's no problem. An F-4E comes zooming in from my right. I had no idea he was there. He's spraying his Vulcan. Luckily, it doesn't get close. I maneuver just enough to where it's not gonna be a problem. Plus, he didn't lead enough. F-4E is now behind me, and he seems quite thirsty to kill me because he fires off 2 of his 9Gs at the same time, and I drop 1 flare, and that flares off both of them. He actually then locks me up with his radar and fires off a Sparrow at me. It doesn't immediately go for my chaff or my flares, so I kind of panicked and then literally dumped the rest of my flares. Luckily, the missile didn't get there, so we're chilling. Also, he died anyway, so whatever. But now I'm left with 3 enemy planes and I have 0 flares. I considered RTBing to rearm and get more flares, but I thought the game would probably be over by that point, so I just stuck it out. Set my sights on this MiG-29. He is definitely the biggest threat left on their team. Luckily, I get an AIM-9L off and he's not paying attention. He's focused on my teammates, so he dies. Now all that's left is the J7D, that new Chinese premium, and an F5. I was pretty confident the J7D wasn't paying that much attention to me here, considering my teammate looked like he was going head on with them. Get a missile off, he flares it unfortunately, but he very well may have been flaring my teammate's missile because he also shot one at him, and now I'm a gunfighter. Also, look how much speed I'm holding at 0% throttle in this thing. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I actually take some shots here. I get very lucky and live through it. I should have died, but I didn't. I was looking more at what the J7 was doing and kind of didn't notice the F5 in my peripheral. I thought he was flying past me, but it turned out he was going for a shot. Luckily, he didn't hit either of my wings or my tail, so we're still chilling. Everybody else in the match is very slow. I still had plenty of speed, so I just loop over on top of this F5E. Put out the air brake so I can slow down, try and line up an easier shot. Get a crit, he goes into a flat spin, set him on fire as well, and that's another kill. Look over to my teammate dealing with the J7D. I was going to try and help him out, but looks like it doesn't need it. He's got the J7 on fire, so looks like that's going to be a win for the match. I kind of feel bad for them. What are they going to do against an F-16 and an F-14? Okay, so that's basically my entire first impression of the F-16 on the live server. I do want to make a MiG-29 versus F-16 video, kind of comparing the two, but I guess that'd be kind of hard to do if I haven't played the MiG-29 yet, so next video, probably MiG-29. I'm also considering making a video about the matchmaker at top tier in general pretty soon. It may be a rant kind of video. I don't know yet, but we'll see. Alright, so that's the F-16. It's finally here. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments. Also, if you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. I'm almost at 20,000. I try not to ask this ever, but I'm almost there. I want to get there before Christmas. Alright, thank y'all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.